Hey there, Musa Amjad here. Welcome to the top 10 most haunted places in the world. Get ready to explore the eerie and unexplained. Haunted places whispered about in hushed tones. Are they genuine paranormal hotspots or just atmospheric locations? Buckle up, grab your EMF meter or a comfy blanket. Let's find out. Alright, kicking off our list is a classic, the Tower of London. This place has been around for nearly 1,000 years, which, is a lot of time for bad vibes to accumulate. One of the most famous alleged tenants is Anne Boleyn, one of Henry VIII's many wives who ended up on the wrong side of an axe. People claim to see her wandering around, sometimes carrying her own head. Then there are the princes in the tower, Edward V and his younger brother Richard. These two kids mysteriously vanished back in 1483, widely believed to have been murdered. Their supposed tiny, terrified ghosts have been reported holding hands, usually in the White Tower. There's Lady Arbella Stuart, a cousin of Queen Elizabeth I, who died in the tower after being imprisoned for marrying without royal permission. You've also got reports of phantom guards, mysterious footsteps, and an overwhelming sense of dread in certain areas. Whether these are actual spirits or just the echoes of a brutal past imprinted on the ancient stones, well, that's up for debate. But if you're looking for a place with a 5-star reputation for spookiness, the Tower of London definitely makes the list. Next up, we're heading to Estes Park, Colorado to the Stanley Hotel, the very establishment that supposedly inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. King and his wife stayed there in 1974, making them the only guests. He reportedly had a nightmare involving his son being chased down the hotel corridors by a fire hose. The original owners, Freeland Oscar Stanley and his wife Flora, are said to be among the most active spirits. F.O. Stanley is sometimes seen in the lobby or the billiard room. Flora, a keen pianist, is often heard playing the piano in the music room. Room 217 is a particular hotspot. This is the room where King stayed. Guests in this room have reported items being moved, luggage unpacked, and lights turning on and off by themselves. The fourth floor, which used to be the servants' quarters, is supposedly rife with the sounds of children running and laughing. Some people report hearing ghostly parties in the main ballroom when it's empty. So, is the Stanley Hotel genuinely a playground for the paranormal? Or is it just a beautiful old hotel that knows how to capitalize on a good story and a famous author's spooky stay? Let's trade in fancy hotels for something a little more grim. We're off to Philadelphia's Eastern State Penitentiary, designed for punishment, specifically solitary confinement. Isolation was meant to lead to penitence. It mostly led to madness and lingering ghosts. Opened in 1829, it was a marvel with its radial design. Visitors report a smorgasbord of paranormal phenomena, shadowy figures, disembodied footsteps, and eerie whispers. Cell Block 12 is a hotspot for shadowy figures. Al Capone's cell is said to be haunted by James Clark. Eastern State now operates as a museum and haunted attraction. Are people experiencing genuine paranormal activity or just primed for a scare? The sheer volume of reports makes it a compelling case. Chapter 4. The Myrtles Plantation, a place steeped in history and mystery. We're heading down south to St. Francisville, Louisiana, to a place often billed as one of America's most haunted homes, the Myrtles Plantation. The most famous legend revolves around a slave girl named Chloe. The story goes that Chloe was a mistress of the plantation owner, Judge Clark Woodruff. To avoid being sent to the fields, she allegedly baked a poisonous birthday cake containing oleander leaves, intending only to make the family mildly ill so she could nurse them back to health and regain favor. Unfortunately, the plan supposedly went horribly wrong, and the judge's wife, Sarah, and 2 of their daughters died. Chloe was then, according to legend, hanged by fellow slaves and her body thrown into the Mississippi River. Her spirit is said to haunt the plantation, often appearing wearing a green turban. Chapter 5. Aokigahara Forest, a place of beauty and despair. We're traveling to Japan, to the Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Sea of Trees. It's located at the northwest base of Mount Fuji, and while it's undeniably beautiful in a dense, almost primeval way, it has an incredibly tragic and unsettling reputation. Aokigahara is infamous as one of the world's most common sites for suicides. For decades, people have journeyed into its dense, labyrinthine paths to end their lives. The reasons are complex and varied, but the result is a forest imbued with an almost unbearable sense of sorrow and loss. Naturally, with such a tragic history, Aokigahara is widely believed to be haunted. Locals and visitors speak of yurei, the Japanese equivalent of ghosts, spirits of those who died there, unable to find peace. Chapter 6. The Queen Mary, a ship with more than just sea stories. Let's set sail, or rather visit a ship that's permanently docked but allegedly still full of passengers of the spectral variety. We're talking about the RMS Queen Mary, a retired ocean liner now a hotel and tourist attraction in Long Beach, California. This grand old lady of the sea has a storied past, from luxury liner to Waidiwei 2 troop ship, nicknamed the Grey Ghost, and now, a floating haunted hotspot. One of the most active areas is the engine room, specifically near door 13. This watertight door crushed a young crewman named John Pedder during a drill, and his ghost is said to still haunt the area. Then there's the first-class swimming pool, a truly Art Deco marvel, and also apparently a paranormal party zone. Reports include sightings of ghostly women in vintage bathing suits, wet footprints appearing when the pool is dry, and the sounds of splashing and giggling when no one is there. Stateroom B340 is so notoriously haunted that it was taken out of service for years before being recently reopened for the brave or foolish. Guests reported everything from lights turning on and off, water running, sheets being pulled off the bed, and even disembodied voices. Chapter 7. Poveglia Island, Italy's plague pit of paranormal claims. We're heading to the Venetian Lagoon in Italy, to an island with a truly grim and gruesome history, Poveglia. This small, unassuming island is often cited as one of the most haunted places on Earth. Poveglia's dark reputation began centuries ago. It was used as a quarantine station for plague victims during the bubonic plague outbreaks, starting as early as the 14th century. Tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, of infected people were shipped here to die and be buried in mass graves. Later in the early 20th century, a mental hospital was built on the island. Legends abound about a sadistic doctor who supposedly performed horrific experiments, including lobotomies, on the patients. The story goes that this doctor was eventually driven mad by the ghosts of his victims, or perhaps just his own guilt, and threw himself from the hospital's bell tower. Visitors who have dared to set foot on Poveglia report a catalog of terrifying experiences. Chapter 8. The Catacombs of Paris, a bony labyrinth of lost souls. Next we descend beneath the romantic streets of Paris into a far less romantic and far more macabre underworld, the catacombs. This isn't just a few spooky graves. We're talking about miles of tunnels lined with the neatly stacked bones and skulls of an estimated 6 million Parisians. The catacombs were created in the late 18th century as a solution to Paris's overflowing cemeteries. Cemeteries were literally collapsing into buildings, causing, as you can imagine, some significant public health concerns. So, authorities decided to transfer the remains from various graveyards into the city's ancient limestone quarries. Walking through these tunnels is a profoundly unsettling experience. The sheer volume of human remains is overwhelming. Visitors have reported a range of spooky occurrences, being touched by unseen hands, feeling sudden cold spots, hearing whispers or disembodied voices, and even seeing shadowy figures darting among the bone-lined corridors. Given that you're surrounded by the remains of millions, it's not a huge leap to imagine a few of them might still be hanging around. Chapter 9. The Banff Springs Hotel, Canada's castle of creepy concierges. Let's head north to the stunning Canadian Rockies, to a place that looks like a fairy tale castle but allegedly harbors some less than charming permanent residents. This is the Banff Springs Hotel in Alberta, Canada. Built in the late 19th century by the Canadian Pacific Railway, it's a grand, historic hotel nestled in a breathtaking landscape. One of the most famous legends is that of the Ghost Bride. The story goes that on her wedding day in the 1920s or 30s, a bride descended one of the hotel's grand marble staircases. Something startled her. Perhaps her dress caught fire from a nearby candle, or she simply tripped, and she fell to her death. Her spirit, still in her wedding gown, is said to be seen dancing in the ballroom or gliding down that same staircase. Then there's Sam Macaulay, a beloved head bellman who worked at the hotel for decades until his death in the 1970s. Guests and staff have reported seeing his apparition in full uniform, helping with luggage or just generally keeping an eye on things. Chapter 10. The Ancient Ram Inn, England's oldest, angriest pub. For our final stop, we're heading back to England, to Watton-under-Edge in Gloucestershire, to a place that claims to be one of the most haunted buildings in Britain, if not the world, the ancient Ram Inn. This isn't your grand, stately haunted mansion. This is a creaky, higgledy-piggledy old inn that dates back to 1145. The inn is said to be built on the intersection of two ley lines, which some believe are conduits for spiritual energy. It's also supposedly built on an ancient pagan burial ground. The history of the place is muddled with tales of witchcraft, devil worship, child sacrifice, and just general unpleasantness. The list of alleged resident ghosts is long and varied. There's a witch, who was supposedly burned at the stake in the 1500s, and whose spirit is said to haunt one of the rooms. There's a spectral monk, a Roman centurion, and even a succubus or incubus, depending on who you ask, that reportedly terrorizes guests in their beds. One of the most active rooms is the bishop's room, supposedly haunted by the spirit of a bishop who died there. Well, there you have it. 10 places around the globe that have earned themselves a spot on the most haunted list. From royal ghosts in ancient towers to spectral bellhops in mountain resorts, we've covered a lot of spooky ground. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more eerie explorations. Until next time, stay curious and stay spooky.